Happy Friday, everyone. Today's a great day to have a great day. We're all in great moods. Welcome to First Things First.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jenna.
Listen to that music. Happy birthday. No, don't dance. Don't dance.
That's not me dancing. That's just me being happy. Oh, no. I'll show you dancing later, Nick. That was just me being happy. Oh, it's a great day. We're going to have a great show. It is Friday. I was born a couple years ago today. And we are going to start in Seattle. Big news where I'm sure there is a sleepless line there somewhere, because until they figure out what to do about Russell Wilson, arguably the best player in franchise history, nobody's getting a good night's sleep out there in Seattle. Here's the latest from his agent, by the way. Russ has not demanded a trade, but if it were to happen, if he were going to demand a trade, here's what he said. He would be open to the following four teams: the Dallas Cowboys, the Saints, the Raiders, and the Chicago Bears. Cowboys, Saints, Raiders, and Bears. Brandon, what are the real chances here? Russ is in Seattle week 1 come next season.
Yeah, well, I asked this question specifically to someone close to Russ, and they said 60%. 60% he'll be there. And I think this is the best opportunity for him. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. You got to think about all the work that he's done in the community, all the work and the relationships that he's built in that locker room, in that organization. You guys know I love Russ. I love this organization. I've been bashing a few guys there, but I had an amazing time there. I studied Coach Pete Carroll and his leadership abilities and his processes in his system. But right now, these two have to call each other. Point blank, period. You guys haven't even talked to each other on the phone in the last couple weeks, and that's alarming. That's a huge problem. So if they can work it out and they can get on the same page, Seattle is the best option. But if we want to break down those four teams, let's do it, and let's do it in order. Let's start with the Chicago Bears. And let me show you this graph, and I'm going to rank them this way. Why is the Bears a good situation, a good fit for Russell Wilson? This is a guy who wants to win. I've never been around a better competitor. He wants to win, and he wants to win in style. The Chicago Bears allow you to do that. I was there for 3 years. Amazing place. If you win there, you're iconic. This is an iconic franchise. They sit right there at the top in all the sports, as far as probably top 10 in brands. So you want to go there, and you got a good defense, and they're going to give you the keys. And I know they have already discussed this internally of what they can give up and what they're willing to do for Russell for him to be comfortable. The Cowboys, this is number 3. Why? Because this is a situation where you just pretty much, you win in style. This is a legacy play here. If you are the quarterback of America's team, then you're probably king of America. And then number 2, we're going to go with the Saints. And I think the Saints is pretty much the best option, but I'll let the resident GM, maybe you can tell me if they can get this done. But they're in cap hell. They don't have the assets to get it done. But if you are able to do it, maybe you can figure it out, Nick. Then this is where you'll probably win and win fast. This will be unfair to the NFL if he got to the Saints, and the number 1 destination is the Raiders. And if things implode and continue to implode in Seattle, this is where I think he'll end up. Why the Raiders? I mean, the Raiders, they have the best young, talented core group on the offensive side. Coach Gruden's going to let it be the Russell Wilson show. New stadium, new everything, and I think he'll really enjoy his time there. So these are the top 4, Nick. What you think?
All right, so let me address Brandon's list in just a moment. But first, I need to make a very important personal announcement. I have no intention of leaving my wife. But here's a list I have ready of 4 women I'd be happy to end up with. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. I don't want to leave Seattle, but if I were to, here are these 4 teams that I'm just letting you know I'd be fine with. That ain't great, fellas. And Brandon couched it as 60% chance he stays. Well, even on her birthday, Jenna can do that math. That means 40% chance he leaves. That's 2 out of 5. That's just a slightly worse than a coin flip. And I take, Brandon, this latest report, which isn't a report, it is an on-the-record quote from his agent as siren sounding in the Puget Sound. I would be freaking out if I'm a Seahawks fan, because now it's real. It's no longer the Athletic report. And by the way, great job reporting that Athletic story. But he stormed out of a meeting in week 9. And it is one of the 2 most important parties, either Russ or his agent, in this case his agent, saying, we don't want to go anywhere. But I do have this handy list ready so Brandon Marshall can break it down of places I would go. Now, to answer Brandon's question, the Saints have as much of a chance of trading for Russell Wilson as we do. 0%. We can't afford him. The Saints can't afford him. So it might be fun. It could be a good idea. That the salary cap is, you can screw with it, but you can't totally ignore it. So I think the Saints have no shot. Wilds, I think the team Brandon had 3rd is the most intriguing, because that team is the Dallas Cowboys, and the simplest and most obvious and easiest trade involves our franchise quarterback for your franchise quarterback. A Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson deal. Now, if I'm Seattle and I'm Pete Carroll and I like to run the football, I'm like, hey, our guy's better, so why don't you throw in Ezekiel Elliott? And then Dallas says, okay, well, then maybe you guys throw in a draft pick. Like, there is some negotiation there.
I like it.
But the reason these trades, Wilds, don't happen is because you cannot get fair value for a franchise quarterback. Unless, of course, you're getting one in return. So I think Dallas and a Dak for Russ trade being not the whole trade, but the parameters of it is super intriguing. But I also think, Wilds, this is something that is now a A1 story almost every morning because his agent went on the record about it.
Yeah, well, I love the Cowboys trade, and I wanted to dig into this article and find the red meat or on what was going wrong, and Brandon say it's imploding and Russ is unhappy. And then I read it, and I'm like, you know what? Brandon, this all seems very fixable. Like, Russ's demands, if we're going to call them demands, they seem like they could be fixed over literally like a cup of coffee at the Starbucks in Seattle. Go to the nice one. Go to the original one. Make it like a special date. Here's what he wants. I don't want to get hit. All right, we got the 56th pick. We'll draft an offensive lineman. Okay. What else do you want? I want to be consulted on personnel. All right, here's what we're thinking about. We'll send you a text. Okay, that sounds good. And I want to cook a little bit more. I'm like, all right, yeah, because that whole Russ can cook thing. Well, we have some concerns too. All right, Russ, like, what do you got? He's like, don't turn the ball over, because that's where things kind of went sideways on us. Over two games, you turned the ball over 7 times, so we kind of pulled back a little bit, and that's it. There is no like huge gulf here. It feels like a small stream that they can just jump over. So to me, I know you're saying it's 60-40, but from what I read in the article, unless you know that there's more, and shout out to you, Brandon, you were mentioned in the article, unless you know more that there's a bigger gulf that I'm not seeing here.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Well, yeah, here's the deal. First of all, they got to talk to each other. I'm not sure that they're even picking up the phone. Like Russell Wilson, he may be on vacation somewhere traveling the world. Why isn't Pete Carroll on the plane to where Russell Wilson is? Why isn't Russell Wilson flying back to Seattle? Why isn't these two meeting somewhere, some undisclosed place, and talking through these things? While I was there, I was able to see their relationship. That relationship between the quarterback and that head coach is important. It's one of the most important relationships in the entire building. And they had a great relationship because Russell Wilson is an extension of Pete Carroll. So I don't understand why they can't work this out. Pete Carroll, you got to think about this. If I'm Pete, I'm looking at my record, and I'm saying before Russell Wilson, I had a losing record. After Russell Wilson, I've been on pace to become a Hall of Fame coach. So why wouldn't you figure this out? If Russell Wilson is telling you that I'm growing, I'm maturing, and I want to start airing it out, then listen to him. Go down with Russell Wilson. Don't try to stick to your stubborn ways and try to run the ball.
Brandon, I think you're right, but I think that stream rather than golf that Wilds is referring to, for Pete Carroll, it's a massive gulf, and it's not about adding an offensive lineman or consulting him, because they consulted him on hiring the offensive coordinator. It's about the type of team we're going to be. And I was on Seattle